Olofeku, and I am reading Wakanda. What? Hi, my name is Folake Olofeku, and I am reading Wakanda, Wild Side. So there are two reporters in the middle of the jungle, and something spying on them. Welcome back to Mysteries of the Jungle. Tonight, we're on the outskirts of Wakanda, a mysterious nation deep in the heart of Africa. For centuries, there have been legends of a black panther that silently stalks this jungle, protecting the people of Wakanda. Recent reports of a vicious cat-like creature causing chaos in this region have brought us here to uncover the truth behind the myth. Is the Black Panther real? And is this legendary beast truly a protector or just a predator? That footage was recovered from a damaged camera found in the African jungle. Though sadly, there are still no signs of the show's host or crew. But judging by the terrifying images caught at the end of the tape, they may have found the mysterious creature they were searching for. Whoa, gross! Do you think a panther just ate that entire crew? Wolverine goes, no, that wasn't no panther. It was someone a lot worse. Someone? What do you mean, Wolverine? You recognize that thing? I'd know it anywhere, Spidey. I'll do anything to stop it. Where, Clawman, going? Hunting. Now, here's Storm. Where are you off to in such a hurry, my friend? Got some unfinished business to take care of, Storm. It has been a long time since I have seen you on the edge, Logan. What has happened? Sabretooth. He's back on the prowl. Sabretooth? Where? Wakanda. Then perhaps you should take a Quinjet instead. The drive from New York to Africa can be very long and very wet. I will assemble the team and... This ain't Avengers business, Ororo. Sabretooth is my responsibility. It's my fault he's still out there, so it's my duty to make it right. We are Avengers now, Logan. That makes all of our business Avenger business. There is no need for you to face that beast alone. Not anymore. Besides, it has been far too long since I have visited my homeland. Are we there yet? I really need to use the Little Heroes room. Almost there, Spider-Man, but I'm still not sure that's a good thing. Last I heard, the King of Wakanda didn't take too kindly to outsiders. Do not worry, Captain. Wakanda may be protective of its borders, but I can assure you, no harm shall befall us. You shouldn't be worried about the locals anyway. Not if Sabretooth is on the loose. What's your beef with this guy, Wolverine? He used to be my friend, kid, a couple of lifetimes ago. Thought we were the perfect pair, till I saw what he really was inside. Tooth ain't nothing but a rabid dog. And the time's finally come for me to put him down! How I've missed these jungles. I still can't believe you grew up near here, Storm. It's so beautiful and peaceful. Not for long. Ugh. We get it, dude. Sabretooth is on the loose and he's dangerous. Tell me something we don't know. That ain't what I was talking about, webhead. Then what is it, soldier? This is definitely the place we were looking for, Cap. But there's no way I can pick up Sabretooth's trail. Too many other scents around us. Human scents. In other words, we ain't alone. Clearly. Giant girl. She expands. I don't see anyone, boss. It's just us. The nose don't lie, sweetheart. Maybe it's time to take the old sniffin' for tune-up. Maybe it's time to stop using baby shampoo. Fine. Your nose still works. And by the way, I have very sensitive eyes. But if we really are in danger, my spider senses should be going nuts. I recommend we keep a low profile until we can figure out what Wolverine... Hawk not what low profile! Hawk want to find stupid Catman and smash him! Hawk, wait! Okay! Oh! Spring! Now we're in danger. Told you so. I can get us out of here if I can expand my body. The pressure will snap the ropes. Yeah, and every one of our bones. Ouch! Save your Pym particles, Janet. I've got this one covered. Slash, 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 slash. Avengers assemble! And they assemble. Hawk hate pointy sticks. Now, this is some old school action. Remember, we're trespassing on their turf. Try to take them down with limited force. And here comes Storm. Crack, kaboom, kaboom! Controlling the lightning. And Spider-Man says, or we could just do that. And then the people go, the goddess, she has returned. Goddess? Talk about R-E-S-P-E-C-T. There is no time for needless violence. We have come here to help, and we demand to see King T'Challa at once. As you wish, my lady. And here they are now, at the Royal Palace of Wakanda. My dearest Aurora, I have never dreamed I would gaze upon you again. You didn't tell me you were friends with royalty. I am totally impressed. T'Challa and I crossed paths many years ago as I wandered the African plains. For a time, we were inseparable. Things were much simpler before my duty to the throne and your life as a weather goddess forced us apart. Despite what the local tribes believe, I am no goddess, T'Challa. In my eyes, you always have been. I hate to cut short your royal flirting, big guy, but I think your legendary Black Panthers are hungry. My pets are completely harmless and are far from legendary. You would know the true Black Panther if you were ever fortunate enough to see him. Yeah, I'll pass. While we appreciate your hospitality, King T'Challa, the Avengers are here on serious business. 3 men were recently attacked on the outskirts of your nation, and the men you seek are safe, Captain. In an effort to escape their attackers, they crossed the Wakandan border. My warriors found them and brought them to me. While my people do not usually burden themselves with the affairs of the outside world, we are also not so cold as to turn away those in need. And the monster that ambushed them, what did your toy soldiers do with him? Nothing. His actions, while barbaric, did not take place on Wakandan soil. Therefore, he is not our concern. Even so, you must have some information that could help us in us.
We'll never meet. Walking down the road, everybody yelling, hurry up, hurry up. But I'm waiting for you. I must go slow, I must not think that thoughts. When is this world coming to? Both sides are right, and both sides murder. I give up. Why can't they? I must not think that thoughts. I must not think that thoughts. I must not think that. The civil wars and the uncivilized wars, conflagrations leap out of every poor furnace. The food cooks poorly and everyone goes hungry. From then on it's doggy dog, doggy body body dog. I can't go down there. I can't understand it. I'm an Oakland coward, an American too, a North American that is. And I must not think that thoughts, and I must not think that thoughts, and I must not think that thoughts, I must not think that thoughts, I must not think that thoughts. I am no murder of innocent men, innocent women, innocent children, thousands of them. My planes, my guns, my money, my soldiers, my blood on my hands. It's all my fault. I must not think that thought. I must not think that thought. I must not think that thought. The past we hate, you'll never hear us.
Hey fam, welcome to Punks for Progress. I'm Reverend Aaron. This here's the What the Fuck Report. We're listening to X. The song's called I Must Not Think Bad Thoughts. Like I said, this is the What the Fuck Report. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter one today. Clearly I got started almost an hour and a half late. I had some issues with the YouTubes that I had to get cleared up, and I spent most of the morning dealing with that, unfortunately, when I should have been doing other things. But I do have some fun stuff lined up. The title says more C-ID nonsense. That's conversation industrial complex nonsense. I want to hit this issue some more, and I will probably elaborate on it even more in the future. This will probably be a ongoing theme over here at Punks for Progress, this conversation industrial complex notion. Yesterday I railed on Jimmy Dore's version of the conversation industrial complex. Today I'm going to rail on Crystal Ball and Rising and their version of the conversation industrial complex. But I've also got a video about that I haven't watched, about a story about Iggy Pop that I had never heard before. So we're going to check that out. Apparently Iggy had a falling out with a biker gang at one point. I don't know anything about this, but there's a video in the queue for us to look at it. Got skateboarding clips, got some art clips up. What we were listening to in the opening, if you were listening during the, stay tuned, the stream will start soon thing, the opener sequence, that was from Marvel HQ, Marvel's YouTube channel. And it was Marvel Adventures, the Avengers Wakanda Wild Side Marvel read. And the description is really short, but it says who is... oh gosh, bear with me, fam, as I try to pronounce this name. Folaki Alawo Foyeku is here to read you, Wakanda Wild Side from Marvel Adventures. And we got through 7.5 minutes of that it's a full 15-minute video. Anyway, I'm a dork. I love Marvel HQ's YouTube channel. Sometimes they post full episodes of Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever, right? The animated stuff. So that's what we were listening to in the opening, and I just wanted to make sure I gave credit for that. But yeah, this is the What the Fuck Report. I'm Reverend Aaron. Hang out. We got a bunch of fun stuff to frickin' do and look at and listen to and whatever.
I'd like to dedicate this one to Punks for Progress. Punks for Progress. This is for our comrades of Punks for Progress.
Punks for Progress stand for anarchy. Fight for your liberty. We don't want your government. We don't need your services. I'm an anarchist. I'm an anarchist.
Punks for Progress on YouTube and Facebook. Thanks, brother.
That sounds right up my alley.
That was a good day when you hear a punk say the word righteous.
All right, fam, this is what I have queued up now is a brand new
After
video.
30 days,
from
I could
Death
not believe
Angel?
my before and after picture. I literally...
It's a the track is called Aggressor, and it's the official animated video. This is available over at the Nuclear Blast Records YouTube channel. And with no further whatever, check out this new badass video from Death Angel. kidding me? How fucking cool is this video? Death Angel doesn't always nail it musically, but this is the second I've heard from this new album, and this song is fucking great. And the other song was a cover of fucking Bowie and the Queen's, oh my god, I can't think of the title. The song that Bowie and Queen did together, which I featured at the very end of the People's History of America podcast series. It's literally the last thing featured in the conclusion episode of that 12-part series. Under Pressure, yes, thank you, Art, and welcome, homie. Yeah, dude. Death Angel. Brand new over at Nuclear Blast. Now, there's an ad popping up here, but I'm going to let it play right on into the video on Iggy Pop. It's Iggy and the Stooges. How Iggy Pop took on a biker gang.
Fellow rock and rollers, don't forget to hit the bell notification icon to be notified every time I put out a new video on my channel. Iggy Pop would
and the channel is Rock and Roll True Stories. Anyway, here we go.
Find the role of a rock and roll frontman. Rather than being a crowd pleaser, Iggy would become known for his antagonistic and sometimes dangerous behavior on stage. At one of the Stooges' final live shows, he would be beaten up by a group of bikers. Following that assault, the frontman didn't back down, almost leading to a bigger confrontation. It would be captured on the live album Metallica KO, and today we're going to talk about the full story.
I used to have that record. I don't anymore, but...
The Stooges, along with the MC5, who I've covered in a separate video, the link is down below, would become one of the first proto-punk bands in rock and roll. By the time they recorded their live record Metallica KO, the band had already dealt with so much turmoil, with the group first breaking up in 1971 and then reuniting the following year. By February of 1974, the Stooges were on their last legs. As professional opportunities were drying up, Iggy Pop was nursing an unhealthy drug habit, in addition to his volatile onstage behavior. The night of February 9th, 1974, saw the Stooges play their final concert for almost 3 decades at Detroit's Michigan Palace in front of a pretty antagonistic crowd.
The very last
that show would be captured on their 1976 live album Metallica KO, along with the events of what happened in the background that night. In the weeks leading up to their final show, the Stooges were zigzagging across Canada and the States, playing gigs to support their latest record at the time, 1973's Raw Power. On February 4th, 1974, the band was scheduled to play a hole-in-the-wall club in Wayne, Michigan, called the Rock and Roll Farm. The club wasn't accustomed to groups like the Stooges coming through town, as it typically played host to mostly rock and roll revival and blues acts. Once the Stooges showed up at the club, their road crew complained about how difficult it would be to fit the group's equipment on such a small stage, but they made it work. According to the Guardian newspaper, who interviewed a Stooges fan named Bob Baker, who attended the show that night, he remembered how he had a bad feeling about the gig. He would remember seeing lots of bikers in the bar wearing the colors of a local Detroit biker gang named the Scorpions. As the Stooges took to the stage, the bikers started hurling eggs in the direction of the band, with Baker telling the newspaper. Iggy came into the audience and went right up to one of the bikers. This guy was big and heavy, and the biker just nailed him right in the face and he went flying backwards through the crowd. It's just a law of physics that if you weigh 300 pounds and you punch somebody, that punch carries a lot more wallop than a 100-pound guy punching you. So when he hit Iggy, he just flew backwards through the room like something in a movie, and they all just laughed. Stunned, Iggy would stumble back on stage and tell the crowd, "That's it, we're gone," and the band left the venue. It was an event that would set the stage for what happened 5 days later at the Michigan Palace in Detroit. Iggy would reflect back on that event almost 40 years later, telling The Guardian, "The invincibility of the band was shattered. Show at the Rock and Roll Farm was to be a stopgap concert so the band could earn a little bit more money before heading to Detroit 5 days later to play at the Palace." Rumors swirled in the run-up to the band's gig at the Michigan Palace, with some reports claiming that Iggy had taken his own life, while others claimed the Stooges would employ a rival biker gang to provide protection during the gig, or the concert would be simply cancelled. Iggy would learn that one of the guys who threw an egg at him on stage was a new recruit for the Scorpions, and throwing the egg was his initiation. The Stooges were angry with what happened in Wayne, and Iggy showed up at a local Detroit radio station named WABX and challenged the Scorpions to show their face at the band's gig at the Palace.
Oh shit.
When the day of the show happened, the Stooges had an up-and-coming band named Aerosmith open for them,
Wow.
and the venue was full. The Stooges were paid $5,000 that night, along with a portion of the door sales, so regardless of what would happen, the Stooges would make good money. Iggy Pop would reveal in the book The Uncensored Oral History of Punk what happened that night, saying, "The next night all the Scorpions came down to the concert at the Michigan Palace, but we had our own motorcycle gang on our side called the God's Children, and they got up on stage with us. People were throwing stuff at us from the very beginning of the show, cameras and compacts, expensive shit, a lot of underwear, beer bottles and wine bottles and vegetables. But I had an arsenal backstage and a few throwers, so I had them all come out and whip stuff back at them, he'd remember." A Stooges fan named Skip Gildersleeve, who attended the show that night, would tell The Guardian, "It was nuts. There were people that you thought lived out in the woods and only came out once in a while. It was like Charles Manson's followers." Now that fan who I referenced earlier, Bob Baker, who attended both of the Stooges show in Michigan that week, knew the end was near, telling the newspaper, "I was extremely depressed. You got the feeling that it was his farewell concert, although you didn't know for sure. It was such a hostile environment. People were obviously trying to mess with his head. I thought, this guy's not going to live to be very old," he'd remember. The band would close out their night set with a cover of the song Louie Louie, but Iggy would improvise, creating obscene lyrics insulting the bikers in attendance. That electrifying performance would be captured on the live album Metallica KO, where you can actually hear the hostile audience in the background throwing objects on stage. And following that gig, the Stooges were done, and they wouldn't reunite until 2003. That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you again tomorrow on Rock and Roll True Stories. Take care.
There you go, fam. That was from Rock and Roll True Stories. It was Iggy takes on a biker gang. I guess I never listened to that album very closely at all because I don't remember hearing anything about things being thrown and whatever. But yeah, that was fascinating as fuck. And I wanted to say, they mentioned, he called it The Uncensored Oral History of Punk. He forgot to mention that it's called Please Kill Me, The Uncensored Oral History of Punk. And I have to say that this is, hands down, the definitive explanation of the birth of punk rock. And if you're not familiar with this book, it says by Legs McNeil and Gillian McCain, but it's not like they sat down and wrote the story. What it is it's literal quotes from everyone that was there, put in chronological order, that tells the story. It's such a fun read, but it's everybody: Patti Smith, Iggy Pop, Ramones, New York Dolls, everybody from the New York Dolls, everybody from Richard Hell and the Voidoids, and the Heartbreakers, and Blondie, and Talking Heads, and the Andy Warhol crew, and MC5, and all the Stooges guys, and just and on and on and on and on, and it's them telling the story. This is fucking amazing. If you really want to refamiliarize yourself or just for the first time get to know, like, essentially how punk rock was born and the people who borned it, this is a great, great, fantastic fucking read. But in keeping with the igginess of the igginess, I have this album here queued up. Side 2, Raw Power. And I thought we'd look at some skateboarding videos. Over here.
Dance to the beat of the living dead. Lucy, baby, stay away from bed. Raw power and shoulder come running to you. You're alone and you got no fear. So am I, baby, let's pull down out of here. Raw power and shoulder come running to you. Raw power got a magic touch. Raw power is much too much. Happiness is a guaranteed. It was made for you and me. Raw power, honey, just won't quit. Raw power, I can feel it. Raw power, you can be beat. Popping eyes and a flashing feet. Don't you try to tell me what to do. Everybody always trying to tell me what to do. Look in the eyes of the savage girl. Foul deep in love in the underworld. Raw power is sure to come running to you. You're alone and you got the shakes. So am I, baby, I got what it takes. Raw power is sure to come running to you. Raw power got a healing hand. Raw power can destroy a man. Raw power is a molten soul. Got a son called rock and roll. Raw power, honey, just won't quit. Raw power, I can feel it. Raw power, honey, can't be beat. Get on, baby, and I kiss my feet. Everybody always trying to tell me what to do. Don't you try to tell me what to do. Everybody always trying to tell me what to do. Don't you try to tell me what to do. Raw power has got no place to go. Raw power, honey, it don't want to know. Raw power is a guarantee of you. Raw power is a laughing at you and me. I wanna know. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? I'm gonna feel it.
There you go, fam. New York Dolls with Trash.
Try
call you a lover boy.
Pick it up, get down like the way. Pick it up, get down the way. Pick it up, get your love away. Pick it up, throw your love away. Pick it up, take my night away. Pick it up, take them all away. Pick it up, take my night away. Whoa, whoa, my sweet baby.
It's the Mummies. This song's called Your Ass Is Next in Line. Sorry, man. Oh shit. Thin Lizzy, fam. This song's called Running Back.
I'm a fool now that it's over. Can you guess my name? I make my money singing songs about you. It's my claim to fame. Well, they say it's over. It's not all over. There's still the dream. And I come running back to you again. Oh, I come running back to you again. If I said I was sorry, would you still believe me? I never thought you'd go till you did. Believe me. When they say it's over, it's not all over completely. 'Cause I come running back to you again. Yes, I'd come running back to you again.
Alright fam, the video I got queued up next It's from Democracy Now!, posted this morning. It's called As COVID Surges Behind Bars in California, Why is San Quentin Transferring Hundreds of Prisoners? I haven't watched it yet, but that's what's in the queue, and we'll watch it together once this amazing Thin Lizzy track is up. All right, here we go, fam.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the Quarantine Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez as we turn to the COVID-19 crisis unfolding in prisons and jails. As U.S. death toll tops 300,000, U.S. healthcare workers begin receiving the coronavirus vaccine this week. Advocates are pushing for incarcerated people to be prioritized in the vaccine rollout. This comes as prisons face their greatest swell in COVID cases since the beginning of the pandemic. Nearly 250,000 incarcerated people in the U.S. have been infected with COVID-19. This according to the Marshall Project. As infection numbers soar in California, all the state's prisons have active coronavirus cases.
And let me just say real quickly that they're just going to continue to generate more positive cases because they're all in a building. Excuse me. They're all in one building where it's just tailor-made for spreading COVID. And then like the video title says, behind bars, why is San Quentin transferring hundreds of prisoners? I mean, that's just taking people and then to another place where they can then infect other people.
Infections were up 130% last week. Despite this, the California Department of Corrections is continuing to transfer incarcerated people between institutions, behavior that helps spread the virus in the prison system in the first place. On Monday, San Quentin State Prison began the transfer of nearly 300 prisoners to other institutions against the advice of health professionals and despite the outcry of the prisoners. This comes after a California appeals court ordered prison authorities to cut the populations of the overcrowded prison in half in October after a first wave of the coronavirus at the prison left 28 people dead. Democracy Now! Reached incarcerated journalist Juan Moreno Haynes on the phone late last week. Haynes is one of dozens of prisoners who filed petitions for release due to the pandemic. He said he was told he would be transferred out of San Quentin as early as this week.
I had a call from my attorney. I had the opportunity to call my attorney, and my attorney told me that the judge told him to ask me or to make me an offer if I dismiss my petition for release out of San Quentin based on these unconstitutional conditions, he would not transfer me from San Quentin. Well, I refuse to drop my petition against these cruel and unusual conditions. And so the next thing I expect the Department of Corrections to do to me is to tell me to pack my stuff and move me to another prison. If the Department of Corrections wants to transfer me to another institution, I can't say what the living conditions are going to be there, but the one thing I can probably guarantee, I'll be living in an enclosed, unventilated housing unit. Exactly. So, you know, what's the difference? When you're in congregate settings and enclosed buildings, the risk of contracting coronavirus is astronomical. And so it doesn't make any sense. Only The only thing that makes sense about the transfer order is that the judge will comply with the order to reduce the prison population at San Quentin by increasing it somewhere else. They're just playing whack-a-mole.
That was incarcerated journalist Juan Haynes speaking from San Quentin prison last week. He came down with COVID in the last months. Over the weekend, Democracy Now! Reached Michael Adams, who's also incarcerated at San Quentin, by phone. He described the scene inside the prison.
People are panicking because outside of the fact that, you know, the people are going to potentially prisons that not only from a place of COVID outbreaks that they're sending them to, there's also the political aspect of guys going to places where they could be jumped on because they're coming from San Quentin. And so you get guys walking around here, not knowing what they're high-risk medical, but they're sending them to places that have outbreaks. And so there is a nervousness, a chaoticness, a fear that's become palpable here in San Quentin because nobody knows what's what.
For more, we go to Oakland, California, where we're joined by James King, state campaigner for the Ella Baker Center for Human Rights, member of the Stop San Quentin Outbreak Coalition. He himself incarcerated at San Quentin from 2013 until this past December. Welcome back to Democracy Now!, James. It's great to have you with us. So for the first time in the pandemic's history, the state prison system is battling COVID-19 in all of the state's prisons, all 34. Can you talk about what is happening and what people are describing as the chaos inside San Quentin? What needs to be done?
Yes, and good to see you again, Amy. The outbreak throughout the 34 prisons is surging in a way that shows that overcrowded, unventilated prisons throughout the state are not safe to protect people from COVID-19. Something that public health officials have been saying for the past 9 months. The public health officials have called for San Quentin itself to be depopulated to 50%. And throughout the state, there are calls for each of our massively overcrowded prisons to be decarcerated in the same manner. Throughout the state, there's no capacity to physically distance within our prisons. There are no proper hygiene and personal protection equipment that is passed out, and the buildings themselves are poorly ventilated, as you heard from Juan. Last October, there was a First District Court of Appeals ruling, which ruled that San Quentin should reduce its population to 1,775 people, either by transfers or releases, and gave the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation the option to decide which to do. They're choosing transfers of over 300 of their most elderly, medically vulnerable people out of the prison throughout the state, even though cases are surging throughout the state prison system.
And what has been the response of state officials to the possible releases, either of the most elderly or vulnerable patients or of those who have been convicted of nonviolent crimes?
You know, we haven't heard from Governor Newsom on this in months. As your reporting detailed, there was a 130% surge in cases just last week within our state prison system. There's close to 10,000 active confirmed cases throughout the state right now within our 34 prisons, and the governor is radio silent. So we don't know what their response will be. We can see from the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, they want to keep everyone in. They want to transfer the most medically vulnerable to other dangerous living conditions, as opposed to just releasing the 300 people throughout the state to their homes and to transitional housing.
And what about the issue of vaccinations? We're not hearing from any major public officials of prioritizing inmates in the prison systems across the country. And could you talk about your sense of how the vaccinations should be handled, and also what the response of inmates would be to the vaccinations?
Yeah, California has a very aging prison population, and so you see elderly people throughout our state prisons who are living in these highly dense congregate settings. We think the vaccine should be available to them as soon as possible. At the same time, the conditions, the public health conditions that make prison living so dangerous existed way before coronavirus came onto the scene this year. Studies show that being in prison itself will age you 10 to 15 years older than people who are not incarcerated.
Hear that,
so
man.
we don't see the vaccines as a substitute for releases by any stretch of the imagination, but it should be available as soon as possible to keep people safe.
James King, if you can talk about the movement to get the voices of those out inside the prison out, and the idea that on this issue of vaccines, as the U.S. says they're going to institutionalize settings, the most vulnerable, for example, people in nursing homes, prisons have almost become these institutionalized places for many older people close together. How do people protect themselves inside?
I mean, famously at San Quentin and at San Quentin during the height of the outbreak, where thousands of people were infected, at one point prison administrators told the people to sleep head to toe, and that way they would be 6 feet distant from each other. We had reports of people who were sleeping with their masks on, sleeping double masked, when they were fortunate enough to get a mask. So the living conditions inside of our state prisons have not been adequate to protect people from this virus at all. And anything that would happen for people in congregate settings of nursing homes, in other facilities, should also happen for people who are incarcerated. Just as the virus is coming into the prisons at an accelerated rate, we know that it's going to grow and come out at an even faster rate.
Wow, man. Thank you to Democracy Now! For that. I mean, it's clearly, it's beyond it's not being taken seriously, right? It's, they don't fucking give a shit. And literally they're not there because, and look, people on the street don't care because your average American is taught to believe that they're there to keep your average American safe and that they're really bad people. And so they really tend to not care about them so much. Well, most of them are there because they're poor and they couldn't, bring a proper case for a drug charge or some trumped up bullshit. A lot of people, or they're there for being, having possession of drugs, but they're not dangerous to people. But in terms of the people who are incarcerating them, in terms of Core Civic, these private prison companies and Geo Group, and there's a third one that's a real big one. They're just, the bodies are there to make a profit off of. And that's it. I know I railed against my local county jail because the sheriff said that 5 of his deputies tested positive, but that there were no positive tests for the inmates. My question was, did you test any of them? I mean, if you don't test them, then no, there will be no. I mean, that's some Trump shit, right? But I never did get a definitive answer, but I know what the answer is. It's that no, they're not giving them all masks and they're not requiring that they wear them, and then they're not testing them and shit. It's not a thing where only 5 deputies in that building can get sick. It has to be infecting other people in there, and this is what's happening in every county jail, everywhere, and every state prison and medium, minimum, medium, max prisons, federal prisons, state prisons. And it's going to fester on in there after we all get our goddamn fucking vaccines and shit, right? So disgusting how little empathy and compassion we have for those less fortunate than us, But I do have this really amazing record here from the Beastie Boys queued up called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I hope I have it on the right speed. an evening at home with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But this is the unreleased Dust Brothers remixes.
Can you handle it? Yes, sir. You can't hold a candle to it. Not symmetry and the balance is right. Smoking and drinking on a Tuesday night. Not how you play the game, but how you win it. I cheat, it's sin, and I'm a cynic. For those about to rock, we salute you. The dirty thoughts are dirty minds we contribute to. I once was lost, but now I'm found. The music washes over and you're one with the sound. Well, who shall inherit the earth? The me shall. Hey, yo, I think I'm starting to peak now, Al. And then the man upstairs, well, I didn't care. If I had a penny for my thoughts, I'd be a millionaire. With just 3 MCs and we're on the go. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. Only 24 hours in a day. Only 12. Well, a man can play. Music for all, but not just one people. And now we're going to bust with the Bunny Swole sequel. More Adidas sneakers and a plumber's got flyers. Got more suits than Jacoby and Myers. If not for my bike, and now fucked out desire. It would be good just like Goodyear's tires. 'Cause I'm out picking pockets the Atlantic antic. And nobody wants to hear you 'cause you're out the damn frantic. Business and pleasure way too much. You know why? And women and songs. I don't get food. I got a mean red streak. Don't pay the fans. Your friends. Yo, that's weak. Get even like Steven, like pulling a Rambo. Well, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. Stay up on the rich and I'm out robbing banks, giving to the poor. And I always give thanks because I got more stories than Janie's got Salinger. I hold the title and you are the challenger. Well, I've got money, like Charles Dickens. I got the girlies in the coop, like the colonel's got the chicken. And I always go out there like the Harry S. Truman. I'm better than bad, Alfred E. Newman.
I'm never gonna let them say that I don't love you.
Well, my nugget is hot, all kinds of thoughts. And I'm young is, yeah, and it's rocking, of course. Fuck the holy Dallas, got no religion. Rally round the kids and take the funky dumb musician. Like Jerry Lee Swagger, or Jerry Lee Swagger. You like Mario and Johnny 'cause he always tries to call well. This is circle of reality since the day you were born. And we love the hot butter, with the popcorn. Sipping on wine, and macking. Rugging on the stage with all the hands clapping. Ride the wave of fate, it don't ride me home.
And you're very proud to be an MC.
And then the man upstairs, well, I'll let it care. If I had a penny for my thoughts, I'd be a millionaire. What's the crossover? Under my bed. And the bass is bumping. The back of my Fleetwood. They tell us what to do. Hell no. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego.
That's Paul's Boutique. Ask for Janice when you call there for the best in men's clothing.
Reignition. Bad Brains Live, yo.
Translation begin. Cosmopolitan reaction. Well then, action, love reaction.
You got to see how he ultimately lays the drawings he's been doing, the drawings you've been looking at. He lays them over a portion of the soundtrack, and it's freaking awesome. That's what I've been queuing up so I can let you see it. And then we'll get into that conversation industrial complex bullshit soon enough. But check this out. He's about to... Oh, I went way too far. Hold on just a sec, fam. No, we can wait. I just think that is seriously fucking cool as fuck. And that...
I've never seen a ratio like this in my entire life. So the New York Post, of course, came out with...
Why is Hassan all of a sudden in my freaking thing? I don't want... Why? What the hell was that? Like, literally, I don't know why that was in there. I have mixed feelings about him. He's all right, but he's got some unaddressed freaking misogynist shit going on. But whatever. You know what I want to do? I want to go ahead and check out... we are going to get to the conversation industrial complex stuff with Rising, Crystal Ball, and all that. But you know who has a new video up? And who I really, really like to platform and show people the content of? Is James from the internet. And so I'm queuing up his latest video, which the thumbnail, let's see, the title is, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. A message to delusional Trumpers from our friend reality. So, James from the internet.
Mellow greetings, everybody. My name is James. I'm from the internet, and today we are going to be delving into the world of Donald Trump in a new weekly segment called What the Fuck's Going On with Donald Trump? Now, I know this used to be basically a daily staple of our existence, but as Donald Trump has almost no political relevancy left, his legal avenues to appeal the election decision are all but slammed shut. This is now going to become a weekly piece, and probably at some point will become a monthly piece as he becomes even less and less relevant, as he sits on his throne of shit somewhere and just babbles at random passerbyers. So, I wanted us to get caught up very quickly on what's going on with all his failures, his numerous tremendous failures. So tremendous, absolutely tremendous. So, let's start off with a visual aid, okay? Now, I know a lot of you are easily confused. I see you in the comment sections. If you needed to know where we're at in reality, Oh, wait, Trump can still win with faithless electors. Oh, that's right, Trump can't still win with faithless electors. That door's shut now, too, that the Electoral College met, and every single elector voted in lockstep with their state votes. Not a single elector defected to help Donald Trump. Stunner, right? So yeah, that's where you're at. It's been a bad few months. Now, to be fair, I kept warning you this was going to happen, and you just didn't listen. Now, as bad as this looks, this is actually just the tip of the iceberg. And I know it's only Tuesday, it's early in the week, but Donald Trump is already getting his ass beaten like he owes people money. So, just hours after the Electoral College finished voting, making Joe Biden's nomination official, his good friend and one of his two only remaining lapdogs, Bill Barr, jumped ship. And of course, because he's preparing for his new career as part-time journalist and part-time retiree, Donald Trump is the one who broke the news. He's like the Katie Couric of Twitter, only shitty and not enjoyable and, well, pretty much a horrible human being. But I digress. Just had a very nice meeting with our Attorney General Bill Barr at the White House. Our relationship has been a very good one. He's done an outstanding job. Yeah, he just spent the last week like crucifying Bill Barr for not getting behind Rudy and all the other lawsuits and leaving him out to dry. But sure, okay, your thing, Don. As per letter, Bill will be leaving just before Christmas to spend holidays with the family. Yeah, unfortunately for Bill, he's not going to make it home for Christmas. He's going to have to quarantine for 2 weeks because he just met with Trump in the White House. That place is polluted. But that is it. Bill Barr is gone. Bill Barr is out the door. So Electoral College, done. Faithless electors, done. Bill Barr using the DOJ to help Trump, done. Damn. All that happened. How the hell could you have known that was going to happen?
Well, if you watch videos here, you actually would have known this was going to happen.
Hey, Remember that time 2 weeks ago where I told you it looked like Bill Barr was jumping ship and he was going to leave Rudy as the only, quote, legal mind on Trump's team? Yeah.
Legal mind.
Hey, that's pretty cool how that happened, huh? Yeah, so now that I'm done gloating about this one, let's take a look at what else is going on with Trump, because you know it's never just one thing. He's just not that simple a person. After Electoral College vote, some in GOP acknowledge Biden's win, including, could it be? Is it Darth Turtle? Has he crawled out of his shell? Is he going to come out and croak some words of encouragement at us?
But our system of government has processes to determine who will be sworn in on January the 20th. The Electoral College has spoken. So today I want to congratulate President-elect Joe Biden. The President-elect is no stranger to the Senate. He's devoted himself to public service for many years.
Rob.
I want to congratulate the Vice President-elect, our colleague from California, Senator Harris.
So there you go, Mitch McConnell on the floor, on camera, on a hot mic,
right,
officially congratulating President-elect Joe Biden. Yeah, that shit just happened.
And let me say really quickly, how fucking annoyingly pathetic and fucked off it is that, like, what? It's not official till that fucking piece of shit says it is? Mitch fucking McConnell? You know? Anyway, maybe that's I don't know, it's a, you know, sort of a weird specific hang up, and it's clearly, I don't know, just everyone's talking about, well, Mitch McConnell said it now, so Trump, and it's like, why give fucking Mitch McConnell that power? I mean, I know he has that power in the Senate. He has the power he has in Congress. And I get all that shit, okay? But, you know, he has all the power he has because all of his supposed detractors and shit give it to him, especially the Democrats. Anyway, back to our homie, James from the internet.
Damn. No, surely there is no way that anybody could have predicted that Mitch McConnell, of all the Republicans, would completely bail on Trump in his moment of need and shit on his last hopes and dreams. What? Who's that guy? There's a line. Again, Donald Trump, there is no line. He doesn't understand that for senators and congressional representatives, and chiefs of police and governors and mayors, no matter how far they're willing to go for Trump, for all of them, there's a line somewhere. For Donald Trump, there is no line. And he's just running right along, thinking the whole army's like running behind him, like Braveheart. Ah! And like, Trump doesn't realize he's just going to cross the line, and he's going to run headlong into that wall of everybody who hates Donald Trump by himself. Even Donald Jr. is going to be 3 steps back going, oh, look, a shiny thing here on the ground. Like, you got to know that shit's going to happen. The only one who doesn't know is Donald Trump. Because the other part of not knowing where the line is not understanding that other people aren't going to Thelma and Louise and drive off the cliff with you. I mean, I'm not going to say that I recorded that shit like, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. But, I literally recorded that shit 6 weeks ago. So, for all you people who keep lurking in the comment section and in chats when I'm up live and all this stuff, y'all have to stop. Look, I get that every day y'all have to wake up to another failure, and then you take the goalposts and you got to move him some more and go, no, listen, he can still be president. It's just now this has to happen. And then another day later, failure happens, and you pick up the goalposts and you move it some more, and you go, no, listen, he's totally going to win. We just have to do this, and this, and then he's still going to be president. And then another day passes. Just stop deluding yourselves, okay? Listen, fucking Hillary Clinton lost. It happened, right? Democrats went out. They marched around. They said stuff like, not my president. And y'all spent 4 years harassing the crap out of them and insulting them and dragging them on every social media platform you could find. And everything you did was to, quote, own the libs. And you owned the libs so hard that 80 million of them came out to vote Trump out of office just to get him and you to shut the fuck up.
Damn straight.
It's over. It's so over. Vladimir Putin said it's over. Now, regardless of which side of the political divide you're on, if you're on the left, you're convinced that Putin owns Donald Trump, and if you're on the right, you're convinced that Putin owns Biden. So either way, regardless of what team you're with,
so
Putin is
fucking
the arbiter
true,
of the
man.
election. There you go. Even Putin said it was over. He called up Joe Biden. He was like, congratulations. Click. Because that was probably the entire
And when I say that's
But-
true, I mean that both the Republicans and the Democrats have their own version of totally baseless conspiratorial perceptions of the U.S. relationship with Putin. It's astounding.
That happened, okay? You don't even have fucking Putin to fall back on. And that's been the ace in the Trump hole for a while now. Unless he's going to get Xi Jinping from fucking China to roll out some miraculous fucking thing, which is going to include a nuclear bomb, Marvin the Martian, and, and at least 4 fucking lamps with genies in them that everybody speed rubs and then starts asking for fucking help real quick. It's over. I want to feel bad for you. I really do. But I keep thinking about those last 4 years on Facebook and on Twitter and all over social media, watching mediocre, run-of-the-mill Republicans who never had shit to say about anything crawl out of the woodwork and do everything to own the libs. I'm posting this cat meme to own the libs. Everything was to own the libs for 4 years. You wanted to own the libs so hard, I left my house and voted, okay? That's how bad it was. Because I just got sick of hearing all of you. Just like I got sick of hearing from fucking Trump. So if y'all want to keep deluding yourselves and wait for the next Q drop and wait for the next fucking, moment of craziness to happen and then point at the heavens and go, oh, it's a sign. Y'all can go ahead and keep deluding yourselves. And while I will keep updating people on the electoral progress of Donald Trump's failure and his eventual exit from the White House, I'm done talking about Donald Trump and his attempts to somehow thwart the election process, because that shit is over. And I gave y'all and your stupid fantasies more than enough oxygen for more than enough time. And now I am done. So after this, we are going to start talking about actual things that actually matter. Science fiction hour is over. If y'all want more science fiction, do me a favor. Don't tune in tomorrow. Y'all can just go watch Disney Plus and watch some fantastical shows on there, okay? Because we here are going to be talking about the real world and politics and economics that exist in reality, unlike Donald Trump and his sycophantic followers. Are we good here? I certainly hope so. So tomorrow, I look forward to seeing you all again as we talk about anything but Donald Trump. My name is James. I am from the internet, and I am out. Peace.
Bauhaus doing their version of T-Rex's Telegram Sam.
I know where you've been. His lips are like lightning, goes melt in the heat. Telegram sound, come on right now. Telegram sound, come on right now. I said Bob is alright, but he's a little bomb boy, he just doesn't like sound.
This is what I'm queuing up. Dread Anti-Flag Split picture disc. On 6 Weeks Records, which is the label I put out the Benefit for Reno Foo Not Bombs record with. It's a split label release, 6 Week Records and my old label. Anyway, I just wanted to let you take a look at the record before I put it on, because you can't see it while I'm playing it. I'm going to play the Dread side, fam. At least I think I'm going to play the Dread side. They're both good, but...
Punk by the book.
Yeah, it's the anti-flag side. That's good. So this is the record I was talking about that I put out with 6 Week Records, same label that put this out, what we're listening to now, this anti-flag Dread split 12-inch picture disc. Descendants, of course. The song's called I'm the One. fuck it, I went in, I'm gonna play it. This is the benefit for Reno Food Not Bond 7-inch. We're listening to Intifada from Portland, and then the next song is The Dread. And I'll let both songs play since I meant to play The Dread earlier on the picture disc. And just check it out on this one. And then after those two songs, we'll go ahead and we'll get into taking a look at this Rising video and talking about the ills of the conversation industrial complex. Again, this is Intifada from Portland. The song's called Feeble Kind. Right, The Dread. The song's called Let's Unite. Fucking great tune, too. That vocal was by Jeff from Capitalist Casualties. Him and Athena, who runs 6 Week Records and play bass for this band, are married. But yeah. Also featuring Jeff from Capitalist Casualties on that track, fam. You can't make me go. I won't go. No, you can't make me go. Alright, fam, so I got this Rising video queued up. I don't know why it's buffering. It shouldn't be. I also have it set on 1.5 speed, and I have not watched this. So I'm just gonna, respond to it honestly, but it is my preconceived, I should be totally upfront, it is my preconceived notion that this is going to be fraught with conversation industrial complex-esque garbage. Crystal Ball may prove me wrong, but the video is called Crystal Ball Breaks Down the AOC versus Jimmy Dore M4A Debate. So let's get into it here.
All right, Crystal, what's on your radar?
Well, last week I interviewed Jimmy Dore about his idea for progressives to withhold their vote for Pelosi as Speaker unless she allows a floor vote on Medicare for all. Take a listen.
Progressives are always told that they don't know how to use power, they don't know how to grab power. Well, they don't have power, right? But the progressives who are elected in Congress right now, I mean the real progressives, not the 100 people in the Progressive Caucus. I'm talking about the Squad, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, Ro Khanna, people like that, Ayanna Pressley, people who are actually have progressive policies. Now they have leverage. What's their leverage, Jimmy? Well, Nancy Pelosi needs their vote for Speaker, right? Because the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi performed so poorly that they lost seats in the House under Donald Trump. So now the margin is really small, right? So just a handful of progressives could say, Nancy Pelosi, we're withholding our vote from you for Speaker unless you bring up Medicare for all for vote on the floor. That's our deal. Now, it's up to Nancy Pelosi. Do you want to risk your speakership, or do you want to make sure we have a vote on a basic human
speakership? Risk
oh
what?
My gosh!
Oh my God! So really? That quick with an ad?
And right.
I can understand quite easily why corporatists would oppose this idea. Of course, they despise
Corporatists.
all
All right,
progressive
for
priorities
starters,
that
I'm
remotely
going to take
challenge.
issue with that term. Corporatists is not a thing. Corporatist is just a watered down way to say capitalist without having to be overtly anti-capitalist. As though corporations are some strange manifestation of untrue capitalism or something. It's not. Corporatists is just another term for the capitalist ruling class bosses. I do not like this term. I digress. I'll let her get back into it.
Corporate power. But I was surprised to see the arguments being made against the idea from some on the left, chief among them, AOC. And the entry of AOC into this conversation really started with a tweet from Chargers running back and left activist Justin Jackson. He wrote, "If AOC and the squad don't do what Jimmy Dore suggested and withhold their vote for Pelosi for speakership unless Medicare for All gets brought to the floor for a vote, they will be revealing themselves. Power concedes nothing without a demand." Pretty sound reasoning to me, but AOC did not agree. She responded, "Problem with this idea is that there isn't enough thought given to step two.
Right.
The Dem votes aren't there yet, and with a razor-thin margin, the Dem no's are greater than the margin.
Right.
So you issue threats, hold your vote, and lose.
Right.
Then what?" She
Then
continued.
what?
In contrast, you can use leverage to push for things that can happen and change lives, i.e. a $15 minimum wage vote in the first 100 days, doable. Elevating longtime progressive champions to important positions of leadership, also doable. That's the opportunity cost away. And in addition to this exchange with Justin, AOC also responded to a Matt Stoller tweet to indicate that actually progressives are demanding things in exchange for their speaker vote. They're just doing so quietly behind closed doors and not on Twitter for the world to see. So, in essence, she's arguing a few things here, and I've seen a lot of leftists on Twitter making similar cases, so let me take each of these points in turn. AOC's first point is that
Before she
losing a vote
does
on
that,
Medicare...
I want to point out that however one might feel about any of these various policies, they are not socialist policies. These are liberal policies. These are proposed compromises and restrictions being put on capitalism. Okay? I tend to think that the things that people like AOC propose as those restrictions on capitalism will probably do a lot of good for a lot of people. Okay? I'm not going to make everything I'm all about be about that specific agenda. And I just want to clarify that because, again, this is all within the realms of bourgeois politics. And we're going to get to it. I'm already feeling it well up. Like, look, let's be clear. This video was, Rising put this up. This is Tuesday. They put this up days after this ridiculous thing sort of began. And this topic is the quintessential fodder for the conversation industrial complex, right? Because, first of all, it doesn't require anything of Crystal. It doesn't require anything of me other than to go, okay, yeah, I support a thing. Okay? It's, hey, let's pressure and send messages to someone so that they push a vote that doesn't happen. So that they push a vote that's going to lose, that's going to make people realize Nancy Pelosi is a corrupt piece of shit, which we already know. I covered this extensively yesterday. Okay? But that's the point, is this has already been covered extensively. Rising is, to me, the froth on top of the shittiest of the conversation industrial complex. They encapsulate all of it in one because they look for... and I've said this before, and to me, this is the proof of what I've been telling you guys about these people, is that, like, they look for the thing that's got everyone abuzz and talking, that's got everyone picking sides over on Twitter. Not just between right and left, because that's always a thing, and not just between liberal and Republican, but like in supposed infighting, right? They frame divisions between real leftists and liberals as infighting when it's not. Liberals, including Crystal, are pro-capitalists. They're capitalists. Leftists are anti-capitalists. But they look for that thing, anything that's got people divided down some type of lines. And if it can be both, if it can be all three, Democrats versus Republicans, liberals versus conservatives, and liberals versus leftists, all wrapped up in one fucking thing. Oh my God, they'll get so many people clicking on their videos and donating to their shit and buying their things and boosting their algorithms. And it's not about any of these people actually giving a fuck about whether this policy gets passed or not. It's about, oh shit, here's the thing that we can go live with on Tuesday. Oh my goodness. Everybody all mad about the Jimmy Dore AOC thing. And then here comes Crystal and Sagar to fucking capitalize on the whole fucking thing. I mean, AOC's take within the parameters of working within bourgeois electoral politics, her takes are, her tweets and what she said in those tweets is pretty solid. It's just, those aren't socialist, those aren't the things that socialists sit around and strive for and organize for. It's more about organizing in direct defense of the most marginalized and the most oppressed by capitalism, right? Let's go ahead and get back to this conversation industrial complex nonsense.
Medicare for All doesn't actually accomplish anything, and there is no plan for what comes next. I disagree. But more importantly, the AOC who fought hard for a vote on a Green New Deal resolution disagrees as well. Look, ultimately, this isn't all that complicated. 300,000 people have died from coronavirus this year. Plenty more are going to be burdened with massive medical bills, which will force them into bankruptcy. 15 million Americans have lost their employer-sponsored health insurance thanks to pandemic layoffs. Medicare for All has never been more necessary, and it's never been more popular. From a political perspective, progressives often get caricatured as focusing too much on niche concerns. This vote would be an effective way to demonstrate that actually progressives are literally the only group in Washington fighting right now for your right to have health care during a pandemic. An up or down vote would also have the benefit of getting everyone on the record so that we know who to primary and have a clear-cut vote to bludgeon them with in that primary.
But here's the thing, but you don't need to know that. You don't need to know that. I don't need you to tell me that, Crystal. We already know. This has already been the thing, and everyone keeps saying this. Oh, man, instead we should be talking about primarying, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's that going to do? The world's on fire, man. Like, we're going to get a half a dozen more people into the squad in 2 years? So then what? We're at 15, 16 people out of 200 in the House and 100 in the Senate, or 400 in the House and 100 in the Senate? Like, come on. But what the fuck does Crystal care, man? She got paid to come on and babble about this shit and to articulate the proper dividing lines, the manufactured dividing lines of, okay, this is going to be the edgy progressive position per her. And then, of course, you know, Sagar would have the edgy right-wing position when it's all manufactured garbage. This is all conversation industrial complex. This is the C-ID. God.
For All won't pass. But if you make it clear that opposition to Medicare for All spells political death for you, you'll start to see those dynamics change as cynical actors just try to protect their own power. If you don't have the votes today, figure out how to get the votes. Exacting a political price for opposition to M4A is one way to do that. Now, AOC's second point is that maybe there are other better things that leverage can be used for. She points specifically to forcing a vote on $15 minimum wage and getting progressives into leadership positions. First of all, I think we should treat a bit skeptically the idea that progressives were totally planning to hold Pelosi's speakership hostage in order to get other things accomplished, since we haven't heard a word to that effect out of anyone until Jimmy raised this issue. Second of all, Biden and Pelosi already support a $15 minimum wage, which has become a centrist position thanks to the leadership of people like Bernie Sanders, who dared to demand such a thing when that position, like Medicare for All is today, was considered to be hopeless and performative. Now, it would be weird to use your leverage to force a vote on something they're already committed to. On the idea of forcing some progressives into leadership positions.
Hello. It would be weird to force a vote to get people to realize that fucking the leadership in Congress is corrupt. Congress has like what, an 18% overall approval fucking rating? People know these fucking people are corrupt, yo. And the whole fucking thing about what Jimmy Dore is pushing and what Crystal is fucking defending here inadvertently, maybe even underhandedly and backhandedly, I don't know. But what she's defending is a large effort to convince people of something they already know. And then she's just, criticizing for someone for doing literally the exact same fucking thing.
That position does actually have some merit. The case that David Sirota, Ryan Graham, and Stoller, among others, have been making is that a vote on M4A is actually not enough of an ask. Sirota has a new piece up listing 5 additional ways that progressives could use their leverage to drive towards the goal of Medicare for All.
Ask.
And I think that piece is actually
I don't like that. Not much of an ask. Again, it's begging the capitalist ruling class for scraps. And at what degree of scrap, what level of scrap should we actually fucking beg for? And Crystal gets paid to perpetuate this.
And it's useful. For one, you could also fight for a vote on Ro Khanna's legislation to allow states the latitude to set up their own single-payer systems. Sure, down for all of that. But also, make sure you don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good here. If you can get more than just a Medicare for all vote, then by all means go for it. But right at the moment, we aren't getting a commitment to use the vote as leverage to get leadership positions or votes or to do anything at all right now. So let's start with the basics. AOC's final argument is perhaps her weakest. She responds to Stoller that actually progressives are making demands, we just don't know about them. Look, might be true, but the hard fact of the matter is not one single person in Congress deserves a just trust me at this point. Not after how they all went along with the original sin of the coronavirus stimulus negotiations.
Then why are if they shouldn't be trusted, none of them blah blah blah, then why are we pushing for this and expecting them to do this thing that you're advocating for, Crystal? If we don't trust them, if there is, if we don't have that base level of thing, then why the fuck should we expect them to do this scheme that Jimmy Dore clicked on his mic to get fucking donations to his Patreon for?
That big businesses would face no hardship whatsoever, and regular people and small businesses would have to grovel every month or so, hat in hand, for some scrap of help to keep their doors open or food on the table or a roof over their heads. They don't deserve a just trust me when they didn't fight Democratic leadership to get payrolls backstopped in the Democratic House offering early on, as has been done in nearly every other developed nation. They don't deserve a just trust me after Ro Khanna was the only Democratic member of Congress to speak out before the election when Pelosi put her political game playing over the possibility of a $1.8 trillion stimulus deal. If we don't see the hardball that you're playing, there is no reason for us to trust that it is happening behind the scenes. Finally, while it is true that one aspect of a Medicare for all vote is performative, it's also true that a large part of politics is performance, is knowing how to rally grassroots support, clarify who's on which side for the public.
And let me just point out, this is one of the reasons why I really take issue, among a number of reasons, why I take issue with Crystal Ball. Sauger over there. Right winger over there laughing at fucking liberal fucking shit. Laughing at AOC. Like, me and AOC, we're not fucking comrades. She's not a socialist trying to end capitalism. But she's a decent person who genuinely wants to fight for making life better for people and shit. And right wingers are totally against that. You don't pal up with people who are devoted to destroying any type of actual fucking effort to help others. Sauger acts like he's all fucking, their whole shtick is that, Sauger is, representing right-wing populists while Crystal is representing left-wing populists. And neither of them are that. First of all, everyone said it. I'm not going to be the first, nor will I be the last, and it probably won't be the last time I say this, but there is no fucking such thing as right-wing populism. There are policies on the right that are packaged in the illusion of populism, but if you pull the thread on every one of those policies, at the other end of that thread is a massive fucking bolstering of the capitalist imperialist status quo. Every time. Every time. Crystal, on the other hand, is not representative of leftist populism. She is not representing the left. She represents petite bourgeois liberalism. That's what she represents. Neither of these things are populist. She's not giving us, fam, and I don't want to watch anymore because she's about to let fucking Sauger talk. And that's another... I don't want to hear Sauger, and I don't want to put him on Punks for Progress unless it's to really just, yeah. Hey, Ariel. And welcome, Shan. But neither of them represent what they're packaged as representing. And nothing of what was on Crystal's radar today requires anything of you or me or her, other than to be in support of a thing that other people have the power to implement or disregard. And what she did is she perpetuates the argument that we all get to have online on Twitter and all our various social media accounts, and the dividing lines and positions we all get to take so that we can argue with each other while actually nothing gets done up there in Washington. This is why I read those Malatesta essays all the time, because that whole section of essays I've been reading from get to the root of this, and they're over 100 years ago talking about like where this using bourgeois electoral politics as a road to emancipation, why that's such a fool's errand. And there's a number of videos on my channel right now that you can go check a look at, that Enrico Malatesta. Just look at literally any of the videos that have Enrico Malatesta in the title, and they're all in relation to this issue of using bourgeois politics as a mechanism for emancipation. It's just not a thing. And then so this is one of the themes that I keep coming back to that's indicative of the conversation industrial complex, the C-ID, right? That it doesn't require anything of the person espousing it, nor the people listening to it, in order for it to happen. Okay? One of the reasons why I'm not so quick to be harsh on someone like AOC is because at least she took her liberal project to more than fucking clicking on a mic and running her mouth and getting paid to do it. She went out to try and, put her money where her mouth is, what little money she had, And so I have a different level of respect for that. But I'm not putting my faith and trust in her or anyone from the squad. Look, man, Young Turks and even Crystal and people who are genuinely, and others who are actually genuinely sort of progressive and stuff, have been critical of the squad's lack of holding the Democratic establishment's feet to the fire. And they're all pissed off and surprised. Like, what? Where is it? I'm not seeing it. And I'm going, they can't. Like, it's an insurmountable effort for these now 10 people to get a lot of headlines, and they freak out the right wing because the right wing media fearmongers about the squad all the time, and it's got them all riled up. And then they come along, people like Crystal or Ben Burgess or others, and go, hey man, everybody's talking about it, so there must be real change. And I'm going, no, a bunch of people talking about stuff is not real change. We got a president who said that if a Green New Deal was passed with a Democratic majority in Congress, he would veto it. Or was it Medicare for All? It was I think it was Medicare for All. And what is the evidence that if we get more people in the squad, then they'll be even better at holding the DNC establishment's feet to the fire? Where's the evidence of that? Because they're not even doing it now. Yes, man, AOC will wreck your fucking shit on Twitter. I would not fuck with this intelligent woman and her Twitter game, yo. Look, and I can be a bit of a wordsmith when it comes to fucking clackety-clack debating and shit. At least that's what my friends and comrades tell me. But AOC, she got fucking serious fucking game because she's fucking smart, because she's quick. And she gives a shit about people. But the route that she has chosen to try and enact that change that a lot of suffering people need, man, I'm not surprised. I'm upset. Well, I'm not. I do get upset listening to them, but I caution people against the conversation industrial complex because it placates you, fam. It sort of either it keeps us divided and preoccupied with the people we disagree with on this specific issue that we have no power over, Or it makes us think, okay, these people are handling it. Oh man, that was really smart what Crystal said. Wow, her take on that was great. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way. Wow. Yeah, AOC should have said the thing, what she said about the Jimmy Dore. And wow, man. Meanwhile, we're not doing nothing but that. When there's like mutual aid networks that need people's help. There's a lot of anti-capitalist organizations that do real good work in solidarity with and in advocating for actual people suffering right now, like right now. I'm not one of these people that gets on and say, don't watch this, don't watch that. I'm okay with people watching things, but you got to understand who you're watching. And you got to understand the motivations behind the people you're watching, what they're saying, right? I covered at the very end of yesterday's What the Fuck, a couple of videos about Jacques Derrida, about deconstruction and post-truth and stuff. That really, and I gave some explanations, and I'm going to actually clip that, and post it as a standalone video. But it really gets into like the introduction basics of how to really look at any fucking issue, whether it's art or a political topic or a video you're watching or song you're hearing, and deconstructing all that it's comprised of, in order to understand it better and to test it in its truth. And anyway, that's all I'll say about that. But in the end, it's okay to watch these other outlets and stuff, but understand that if they're not talking about how we can end capitalism and how its relevance to ending capitalism in some way, I doubt that what they're espousing is going to do a whole hell of a lot to genuinely make a difference in people's lives, man. And in fact, a lot of times what it will do is divide them, which creates all sorts of more negative energy, or contributes to the fucking blah, 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 fucking dumpster fire of fucking disagreement, right? Of online fucking discourse. The toxic fucking end of the online discourse. It just keeps that going. And then what it also does in the end, fam, that is the worst part of it, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, and I think I'll probably play a music video and a little something before we totally get out of here. But and now I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, I guess I pretty much covered it anyway, man. What I was going to say, that's it, is that by placating us or keeping us divided, the things that need to be dismantled and replaced will continue to go on unabated. In fact, they continue to get worse, which are these oppressive mechanisms of capitalism. And so it's not just like I'm upset with Crystal and Sagar because they say stuff that, I disagree with it and it's not legit and it doesn't motivate people to do stuff. It's that it perpetuates the violence and oppression of the capitalist, imperialist status quo. And let me see what I had over here for a video. I did have some kind of music video picked out. I know I did. Oh, yeah. Let's do this.
The politics of us and them. In its own history,
all right, much love, fam. Check this out. Guillotine truck. No, I'll be right back to close it up. But yeah.
Indeed, Hitler was inspired by the Confederacy and Jim Crow laws. What normalization does is transform the morally extraordinary into the ordinary. It makes us able to tolerate what was once intolerable by making it seem as if this is the way things have always been.
We have a global ultranationalist far-right movement crossing many countries. The 10 pillars of fascism are, number one, a mythic past, a great mythic past to which the leader harkens back. Number two, propaganda. There's a certain kind of fascist propaganda where everything is inverted. The news is the fake news. Anti-corruption is corruption. So three, anti-intellectualism. As Steve Bannon said, it's emotion, rage gets people to the polls. We got elected on lock her up and build the wall. Hitler in Mein Kampf says, you want your propaganda to appeal to the least educated people. Number four, unreality. You have to smash truth. So reason gets replaced by conspiracy theories. Unreality. So you smash truth, so all that remains is loyalty. Hierarchy. In fascist politics, the dominant group is better than everyone else. They were like the loyal, the great people in the past who deserve respect just for being that. Victimhood. In fascism, the dominant group are the greatest victims. The men are the greatest victims of encroaching feminism. Whites are the greatest victims of blacks. Germans are the greatest victims of Jews. Law and order. What are they victims of? They're victims of the out-group, who are criminals. What kind of criminals are there? They're rapists, sexual anxiety. Pillar 9 is Sodom and Gomorrah. The real values come from the heartland. The people in the city are decadent. And Pillar 10 is Arbeit macht frei. Work shall make you free. The out-group is lazy. They're not just criminals. They're lazy. And social Darwinism, it's all about winning.
Comparisons with George Orwell's dystopian novel, 1984.
Just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening. We have to make our country truly great again. Remember, Make America Great Again, and then in 2.5 years, it's called Keep America Great.
So that's Trump speaking earlier this year, and just to say that George Orwell's line reads, the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command.
Reality is, of course, the greatest threat to fascism, because fascism is based on power, and reality is a way of responding to power. You say it's just false. So you have to make everyone destabilized, not connected to the truth, and you have to represent yourself as reality. And you have to show that you're stronger than reality, because fascism is about machismo and power.
It's the little moments that matter.
There you go, fam. Guillotine Truck. I want to see what that the title of that track was again. Excuse me. COVID-19 is the new 9/11. End of 2020 and 95's off to smoke jam. So, thanks Guillotine Truck. Thanks to all y'all over here in the chat. The four of you that said one thing each. Ariel, SoCal Shan, Jay Coleman, and Art. Appreciate y'all being here. And I will say this, much love, thanks, and appreciation to literally anyone and everyone who does what they can, when they can, to get out there and make life just a little bit better for other people, because it matters and it makes a difference. All right, fam. Much love to you.
Neighbor,
We'll see you next time on the What the Fuck Report.
I'd like to show you something. You know what this is? Maybe if I press this button. This is a cassette player with a little cassette in here, and there's nothing written on it, so we'll just have to play it to see what it is. Do you ever imagine things? Are they scary things? Do you ever imagine things? Things you'd like to have? Did you ever see a cat's eyes in the dark and wonder what they were? Did you ever pretend about things like that before? Did you ever grow anything in the garden of your mind? You can grow ideas in the garden of your mind. It's good to be curious about many things. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think, and they'll grow. Imagine every person that you see is somewhat different from every other person in the world. Some can do some things, some can do others. Did you ever think of the many things you've learned to do? Many things you've Did you ever grow anything in the garden of your mind? You can grow ideas in the garden of your mind. It's good to be curious about many things. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think, and they'll grow. Did you feel like going like that, like that, like that? Let's give the fish some food. Mr. McFeely, I didn't order any whistle. That's what they call a slide whistle. Did you feel like going like that? There are so many things to learn about in this world. And so many people who can help us learn. And so many people who can help us learn. Did you ever grow anything in the garden of your mind? In the garden of your mind. You can grow ideas in the garden of your mind. In the garden of your mind. It's good to be curious about many things. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think, and they'll grow.
All right, fam. Thanks for hanging as always. Much love to you. Do what you can to be good to people when you can. How's that? We'll see you next time on the What the Fuck Report, fam.